Crash was 3 times over the speed limit. The trial of the man accused of murdering an MP. And is the RSPCA going too far? You're watching 5 News Tonight. Investigators say the tram that derailed, killing 7 people, was doing nearly 44 miles per hour when the speed limit was only 12. A court hears how the man accused of killing MP Joe Cox was found with bullets in his pocket. And protecting animals in danger. So why is the RSPCA being accused of going too far? Also tonight, we're asking, why are children turning their backs on watching The Box? New research shows kids are glued to their gadgets instead. So is the family TV experience a thing of the past? And beware Black Friday. So when is a bargain not a bargain? Good evening, welcome to 5 News Tonight. I'm Matt Barbett. It's been revealed that the London tram that crashed, killing 7 people, was going 3.5 times faster than the speed limit. Investigators say it was travelling at more than 40 miles per hour when it derailed on a corner. It should have been going no more than 12 miles per hour. The driver, Alfred Doris, is currently on bail after being arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. Our chief correspondent, Tessa Chapman, has the latest from Croydon.
They were 6 men and 1 woman. Young and old, just starting their days. But they didn't get to see them through. Instead, caught up in the worst rail disaster in a decade. Now we know the tram on that terrifying journey was going 3 times too fast. A week on, and Tai Ajibola, one of the 50 injured, is still in constant pain. And he keeps getting flashbacks of the moment he knew he was in danger.
You knew it's going to happen as soon as he increased the speed. Everybody was screaming that time. So by the time you get to the corner, he just tumbled 1, 2, down to the other side.
In fact, data from the tram has revealed it was travelling at nearly 44 miles per hour. The speed limit on this bend is just 12.5. Today's report also found no evidence of any obstructions on the track, and nothing to suggest the brakes weren't working. This footage from YouTube shows a tram doing the exact same journey on a different day. The video clearly shows the tram slowing down significantly as it comes towards the same sharp bend, taking its time as it moves. This tram didn't make it round safely, and the report found it travelled for 25 metres on its side before coming to a stop. The wreckage has now been taken away for the full investigation.
We need to understand why it was the tram was driven in the way it was and the factors that may have influenced that, and that is a very important part of our investigation. We also need to understand the characteristics of the tram and how people came to be injured, and there were so many fatalities in this derailment.
The full report will take some time, but the grieving is happening now. Today's information is unlikely to come as a surprise or provide any comfort for the families.
And just a short time ago, Tessa sent us this update from the scene.
Today's information came from the black box recorder, but investigators will also need to go through many witness statements and wait for experts to analyse the wreckage from the tram crash. Only then will they come up with their findings and make any recommendations. At the same time, a police investigation is ongoing. We know that the driver was arrested here at the scene on suspicion of manslaughter. He has been bailed until May. We understand one line of inquiry will be whether or not he had some kind of blackout or fell asleep at the wheel. In the meantime, though, the number of flowers keeps growing. The tributes do too. There are still shockwaves going through this community.
Our chief correspondent, Tessa Chapman there. Now, the man accused of murdering the MP, Joe Cox, had a bag of bullets in his pocket when he was arrested, the Old Bailey has heard. The mother of 2 was shot and stabbed outside her constituency home near Leeds in June. The Thomas Mayer's murder trial, her assistant described how she urged Joe to run, but she couldn't. She then cradled her in her arms and told her to think of her children. As Simon Viger reports, Thomas Mayer denies the charges.
The parents and sister of Joe Cox arrived at the Old Bailey to hear the first witnesses in the prosecution's case. The MP was shot and stabbed in Birstall the week before the EU referendum in June. Her alleged murderer, Thomas Mayer, was a constituent. The prosecution says he had a political motive, but he denies the charge. Joe Cox's office manager was with her when she was attacked. Fazila Aswat told the court, "In that instance, our lives changed forever. Jo was on the floor and a man was standing over her with a knife. I said, 'Jo, you need to run.' But Jo said, 'I can't run, I'm hurt.'" Other witnesses today were the unarmed policeman who saw Mayer walking in the street and told him to stop. This dramatic mobile phone footage was played to the jury. It shows Thomas Mayer pinned to the ground by 2 police constables. PC Craig Nichols told the court he didn't reply to any question. He just said, "It's me." He moved his hands and we rugby tackled him to the ground. Later he said, "I'm a political activist." The court was then shown a series of photographs of what was found in Mayer's holdall. There was a sawn-off rifle which had 3 bullets. 24 bullets were found in a clear plastic bag. There was a dagger, and in another bag, a leaflet for the EU referendum, which was stained with blood. In the aftermath of the attack, CCTV from around Birstall was collected by police, and today it was played to the jury. It shows Mayer walking around the town in the hours before Jo Cox was attacked. The prosecution case is that Jo Cox is the first MP to be murdered for their beliefs in a generation. Today, the jury heard the first evidence on which they will have to base their decision. Simon Viger, 5 News, at the Old Bailey.
Next, a development in the past hour. There's new controversy surrounding the National Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse. Our political editor, Andy Bell, is in Westminster right now. Andy, what's going on?
Yes, the inquiry has announced they're delaying the investigation into the case of Lord Janner, the former Labour MP Greville Janner, who died earlier this year. The inquiry is saying they are delaying hearings on this because of any potential conflict with any ongoing police investigations or investigations by the police watchdog, the IPCC. But the inquiry says they are committed to having hearings on this particular strand of their investigation in the future. Now, I've just spoken to Daniel Janner, the son of Lord Janner. He is a senior QC, a lawyer, and he's described this decision by the inquiry as cruel because he says it will put off for months and months the moment when the family will get to to talk about these allegations and to refute these allegations, which they say are completely unfounded.
OK, Andy, thanks very much indeed. The RSPCA is being told to step back from its role in prosecuting animal welfare cases in England and Wales, according to MPs who examine the charity's role in investigations. They believe any findings should be passed to the authorities, who will decide whether to take action, a system which does already exist in Scotland and Northern Ireland. But tonight, the charity defended its work, saying it was proud of its record of prosecuting animal cruelty. Just a warning that Catherine Jones' report now does contain images of animals in distress that you might find upsetting.
Ivy arrived at this animal hospital a month ago. She'd been neglected and then abandoned by her owner and was starving, covered with fleas and suffering from a severe case of mange.
Each year in England and Wales, the RSPCA deals with around 150,000 cases of animal cruelty like Ivy's. And in around 1,000 of those cases, the charity funds a private prosecution of the perpetrator, fulfilling the roles that, for most other crimes, are done by first the police and then the Crown Prosecution Service.
This has led to the accusation the RSPCA is too powerful. For example, 2 years ago, this owner got an apology from the charity. They'd wrongly put down his cat and their prosecution of him was dropped.
They threatened us with police action and imprisonment and read us all the rules of the Animal Welfare Act.
In Scotland and Northern Ireland, investigations are passed to public prosecutors, and a committee of MPs now says the RSPCA should do the same.
They do great work across animal welfare, but they fundraise, they campaign, and they also prosecute. And I think we're not certain that all of that is properly divided up. And is there too much interference sometimes with high-profile cases?
But the RSPCA says when animals are victims of appalling cruelty, like these horses found by inspectors in 2008, it's the charity's expertise that ensures the owners are brought to justice.
The fact is we're very good at prosecutions. We've been doing it for nearly 200 years. We have a 92% success rate. And the committee themselves admit that the Crown Prosecution Service doesn't have either the experience or the resources to take over this work.
Several other animal charities, including the Blue Cross, the Dogs Trust and the PDSA, have backed the RSPCA today. They fear without them, many cases of abuse would go unprosecuted. The government says it will consider the MP's recommendations. Catherine Jones, 5 News.
David Bowles from the RSPCA is here with me now. David, a lot of support for you on this, but the MPs do want to clip your wings. What do you think?
So we'll look at the reports. I think the MPs didn't look at the evidence they were presented. So of the oral evidence, they had 13 people that supported us taking prosecutions continually. That included vets, it included local authorities, it included the Met Police, and crucially it included the government. They're happy with the model that we've got at the moment. And the committee themselves said they would only like to hand prosecutions over if there was money available. And the government have made it clear there isn't money available. So yes, we'll look at it. We'll listen to what the government says because it's up to them. But I think we will continue as we are.
Because it costs you something like £5 million a year to bring these prosecutions. Sounds like a lot.
Yes, it does cost us $5 million. But you have to consider against that we have 500,000 supporters who give us money. And those supporters, we know, the second most important thing for them to donate to us is our prosecution work. The first most important thing is our investigation work. So we were set up by an MP 192 years ago to do precisely what we're doing now. And yes, I think the committee have a point that we wear 4 different hats, and we need to actually get the public to understand that those are separate. I have got no powers.
Could you break up the RSPCA to reflect that?
Well, we've got complete internal delineation in the way that we work. I have no powers over the prosecutions department or the inspectorate, as it should be.
But when it comes to the prosecutions, I know your colleague there said you have a 92% success rate. Do you get it wrong sometimes?
Yes, we do. We're not perfect. We're not infallible. And I think what it's important to say is the RSPCA is human. Sometimes we get it wrong. So 8% last year, we got it wrong. And you had one of those cases on there. People tend to focus on that and not on the high-profile stuff that we do where we get it right.
Is there anything beneficial that could come from handing the Crown Prosecution Service the decision to prosecute over animal welfare, i.e. could that £5 million you're currently spending be better spent on something else?
Well, obviously, it could be. But actually, I think that would have a disservice to us because people give us money to investigate and to prosecute, very importantly. Would they then stop giving us money if that was taken away from us?
So finally then, David, I mean, are you concerned that animal welfare could suffer as a result of what's being said here?
Well, that's the test the RSPCA will put to this. We always put animals first, have been doing so for 192 years. My initial reaction is animals would go lower down the priority list if it went to the CPS, and therefore animal welfare would suffer. But we'll look at it, we're listening, we're going to talk to the government and see what they say. I expect, as they said to the committee, that they are not interested in doing this because they think we're doing a good job and they don't want to hand over the money either.
OK, David, many thanks indeed for coming in. Still to come on 5 News tonight. The screen generation, why children today are obsessed with all things online.
Do you prefer iPad or TV?
iPad.
iPad. And do you prefer iPad or toys?
iPad.
Is she injured? Is she hurt herself?
Feeling really poorly.
She's feeling poorly.
And the very special little girl who helped save her mum's life. Destined to be a police officer, of course. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back. You're watching 5 News tonight. Now, how many parents tell their children to get off that screen and go and play outside? It was always thus, wasn't it? Well, new figures suggest that those as young as 3 or 4 are glued to the internet for more than 8 hours each week. And children spend more time online these days than watching TV. I don't like the sound of that. Layla Hayes has been to visit one mum who says she struggles to tear her kids away from their devices.
Every child in the Hajlakel family loves to go online. Mum Donna reckons they spend at least 2 hours a day on tablets, mobiles or computers. And she worries they're becoming addicted.
Do you try to limit the amount of time that they spend on them?
I do try, yeah. I do take it off after a while and just say, like, why don't you play a game or do this or do something else.
How does that go down?
Depends, really, yeah.
But the Hajlakel family are not alone. Today's report says children are spending more time than ever glued to their screens. The study found children aged 5 to 15 are now online more than 2 hours a day, overtaking time watching TV for the first time. Even children aged just 3 to 4 now spend more than an hour a day online, and that rises to more than 4 hours a day for preschoolers if you include TV and video games. There are no official guidelines on screen time, so experts say it's up to parents to control their children.
They have no off button, they just want to keep doing it. And so as a parent, one of the skills you develop is in managing that. And whether it's an iPad use or whether it's stopping them eating ice cream, that's something that you develop as you're kind of getting to know your child, and you have to put down rules just like you would for anything, really.
5-year-old Bea likes watching video clips on YouTube. 4-year-old Mohammed prefers games on the iPad. The children's toys are often untouched.
Do you prefer iPad or TV?
iPad.
iPad. And do you prefer iPad or toys?
iPad.
iPad. Would you rather go on this or would you rather play toys? Which one would you prefer? The tablet? Why is that?
Because it has games on it.
Have you ever considered getting rid of all the technology in your house and then just going back to basics?
No, I don't think I'd be able to do that.
It isn't always easy to limit screen time, but if we want to stop children becoming addicted, it might be for the best. Layla Hayes, 5 News.
So, will those shared family television moments, you know the ones I'm talking about, Strictly and Bake Off and that kind of thing, become a thing of the past? Let's talk now to Tim Glanfield from the Radio Times. And also with us is YouTuber Riyadh Khalaf. And let's just get a flavour of what Riyadh K gets up to.
My sanctuary, my childhood, my memories, my first time, my identity, my family, my Ireland.
Riyadh, you're a YouTuber, but that looks very much like TV to me.
Well, this is the beauty of YouTube. You can do what you want. You don't have to pitch to a producer. You don't have to keep to the same format. As an artistic person and someone that is an oversharer / attention seeker, I can do...
It's made for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I started my channel when I was 16 years old because I saw another YouTuber in the States and I thought, I can do that.
Okay, well,
and I could do it better.
To be honest, I think you would be a success whether it was YouTube, TV, or you know anything else. You just you have that way about you. But how does it make you feel when you hear that kids in this country are now watching screens in a way that you use them rather than in a way that I use them?
I think it's great. I think the more content that people can watch on the more platforms, the better, because it's a democracy. YouTube is a democracy. The content that is successful is so because people choose that it's going to be successful. They're not forced to watch something at 9 o'clock on the telly and only that. They can watch whatever they want.
I know, Tim, that Riyadh thinks it is also the interaction that you get with YouTube. You can comment below. You can, you will get YouTubers responding to their audience that you don't get with TV, which is more of a passive experience. Is that something that they're always going to want, or is it something that you grow into, that sort of passive experience when you're a knackered dad like me?
I think it is a passive experience to an extent, television, although you see some of the most popular shows, people do ring in and vote and they text in, so actually...
And they do with us,
not necessarily, and, people get in touch with news shows. So I don't think it's fair to say that all television is passive, but yes, YouTubers are in a particularly interactive experience, which is a very different form of consuming content, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a 14-year-old who's enjoying it now will want to do that when they're 35 or 40, when they're sitting down with their family. They may well want to experience more of those family moments, like watching the Bake Off, 15 million people doing that, or Strictly Come Dancing, or, the huge Olympic events, like, 15 million people watching people cycle around in a circle 100 times,
Well, I know that baffles you. I thought that was incredibly exciting. Riyadh, what do you consume yourself as a young man?
I consume an absolute mix of everything. 90% would probably be online, be that from news organisations or other YouTubers. But the joy of YouTube is that there are literally families out there that are vlogging and documenting their life. And this is the new reality TV. It's almost Big Brother, but produced by a family.
But it is the new reality TV, but it's not much more than that. It's a very defined genre, the streaming stuff, isn't it? I mean, I'm not talking about Netflix here and the fancy dramas. I'm talking about the YouTube stuff that so many kids are watching.
No, I disagree. I think it's absolutely...
It seems to be a lot of people just talking to cameras sitting on a bed, to me.
But you're not looking hard enough. So you can find anything you want on YouTube, even plumbing experts.
Even Russell Brand does it that way, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, the reason why the YouTube format works so well is because it's human-to-human interaction. It's me and you, not a massive audience. It's this. And people love this raw element of getting into your life. And if you're an oversharer, like I said, then everyone wins.
Tim, just briefly, TV then needs to get with the programme, doesn't it?
I think this is a golden age of content. There are lots of different ways of consuming content now. Technology is changing. YouTube's part of the ecosystem. It's brilliant. I mean, I think the more content, the better. It's really important that there's great content that's made. Netflix is a great thing. They're making huge productions like The Crown that's come out recently. You've got the Grand Tour going to Amazon. These are great programmes that people will watch in a different way.
Golden age. I'm glad you said that. For all content. Thank you both very much indeed. Black Friday seems to be the latest retailing gimmick to get us to grab a bargain before Christmas. But could those slash prices just be too good to be true? The consumer watchdog Which has found half of last year's deals were actually cheaper on other dates, and some advertising suggested savings were much higher than they actually were. Millie Stevenson has been finding out more.
For bargain hunters, there can be no bigger date in the diary than Black Friday. In the past, a stampede of shoppers eager to get the best deals. But are they? Today, the consumer watchdog Which claimed customers might not be saving as much as they thought. Government guidelines suggest that a reasonable cost comparison to advertise is the most recent price it was available at for 28 days in a row. But Which says last year Currys advertised this widescreen LG TV at $449, boasting it was $899. According to the watchdog, the TV had actually been sold at $499 since August, meaning the saving was only £50. In another case, AO.com listed this Bosch washing machine at $399, saying it was $529, but Which says the item hadn't been on sale at that price since 2014.
When we looked at the deals from 2015's Black Friday, you could have actually bought half of those products for less on a different day in the 5-month period running from 3 months before Black Friday to 2 months after.
Today 5 News contacted 2 of the retailers in question. Currys told us, "We fundamentally disagree with the approach taken by Which in this report and comply fully with the PPG guidelines. Those are the government's rules, displaying a clear date from when the was price was taken." While AO.com said, "We offer the most comprehensive and clear price match guarantee to our customers and are continually changing prices to ensure we offer the best price in the electricals market." And retail experts say our obsession with bagging a bargain knows no bounds.
On a very sort of psychological and evolutionary basis, we need the best possible return on our investment. And our investment is not only the money, it's also the time and the effort it takes to actually find that bargain.
So are you a savvy shopper?
I'm quite careful. I do my shopping around.
Do you?
But yeah, if it's like someone that I normally shop with, then I do trust them, I suppose.
Can't trust the big names at all.
Really? Why not?
Yeah, they're all thieves. You can't just...
Online.
All the way?
All the way. I've done it last year, I'll do it this year.
While this year's Black Friday is fast approaching on November the 25th, the advice from consumer experts is don't take everything at face value. That great deal might not be such a steal. Millie Stevenson, 5 News.
I'm sure you've heard that before, but we are going to ask, when is a bargain not really a bargain? Consumer journalist and bargain expert Jasmine Burkle is here to tell us. We all love a real bargain, Jasmine, but I mean, is it just the case with Black Friday that we're duped into thinking it's going to be fantastic when it really isn't, as Which seem to be alluding to?
Well, I certainly feel that way, because when you think, normal, what I would describe as normal sales, they're at the end of a season when you're trying to get rid of the old stock in order to make room for the new. So obviously you're going to try and sell it off cheap so you can get rid of it fast, get some cash in, but get rid of it. Now this comes in the run-up to the busiest time, shopping-wise, of the year, and it's a special day, and you think, why? Why? What is the point? Well, the point is to get us all going, oh, I've got to buy something. It's a bargain. It's got to be a bargain because they say it's a bargain. And very often, no, it's not. We're just whipped up.
Can we just be savvier then throughout the year? Because there are always deals to be had online. I mean, we hear, don't we, about leaving things in your virtual trolley online and waiting for them to email you and say, hey, are you going to buy this? Here's 10% off. That kind of thing.
Yes, we're all getting a bit clever on that. And you can haggle in the high street, certainly. There are certain shops that you can do that. There are certain ways. Some people I know will not buy anything at the cost price, at the main price. And certainly, as you say, online, there are deals. And now, I said we're talking about end of season sales. Well, nowadays, you go on the high street and there are sales at all sorts of times. And it's highly likely that during December, this has certainly happened in the last few years, shops like Marks and Spencer's, Debenhams, whatever, they'll have their one-day flash sales. which again may or may not be, you know, the best value, but, you know, they're sales.
Just briefly, the one thing to remember is if people are going to jump in on Black Friday and buy for Christmas and they don't like what they've got, if they're waiting until Christmas, they won't be able to send it back.
No, that's the problem. It's a good month away, really. So if you buy online and you don't like it, and of course, round about this weekend, you might get a bit drunk, go online, go, oh, I'm one of those, you know, you can send it back. That within 14 days, you can send it back for whatever reason.
Only 14 days.
Yeah.
It's not going to last till Christmas.
Not for Christmas, no, sadly.
All right, Jasmine, thanks very much indeed. Good
Thanks.
advice. Finally, one brave little girl has received an award for saving her mother's life by calling the emergency services. When 4-year-old Suzy's mum collapsed, she called 999 for help. On the phone, she calmly explained that her mummy was very poorly and couldn't talk. Peter Lane takes up the story.
Certificate for you. It's just to say certificate of commendation to Suzy McCash, and that's for being absolutely awesome.
That's for my first name.
When she grows up, 4-year-old Suzy wants to be a paramedic, but she's already proved her credentials and her cool head in an emergency. When her mum suffered an allergic reaction and was close to respiratory failure, it was Suzy who dialed 999. This is part of the call.
So what's your mummy doing on the sofa? Is her eyes open?
No, that's shut.
That's shut. Is she injured? Is she hurt herself?
Feels really poorly.
She's feeling poorly. And mummy's not very well, is she not?
No. And she's breathing, but she's still looking at me.
She's breathing, but she's still looking at you. So is she breathing still, yeah?
She's not able to talk now.
Suzy, can you get a hold of mummy's hand?
Okay.
Are you holding mummy's hand, yeah? The ambulance are coming, don't worry.
Okay.
She gave them all the information they needed to help me. And obviously we wish she had never been in that situation, but we're just immensely proud of how intelligent and resilient she was.
As for Suzy herself, well, she's already turned her mind to the future and Christmas presents.
For Christmas, I've also a proper good book that I can read myself.
Suzy has also been commended by Northumbria Police, the operator who took her call, not surprisingly, full of praise for her.
I've got a 4-year-old child and she's trying to save her mother's life. It's quite distressing, but you have to do a professional job.
And she did a great job.
Unbelievable job. She's such a brave little girl. I think she deserves to be recognised for this.
And today, Adam got to meet Suzy, the little girl whose quick thinking made all the difference. Peter Lane, 5 News.
Complete star. I do hope Father Christmas brings her that really good book. That's it from us for now. Claire Nazir is here with you with the next, and Danny Sinha has updates throughout the evening. For now, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.